Hey folks, today we're talking about Carcassonne, the South Seas from Z-Man Games. Now, this is not a compatible product with regular Carcassonne. It is not an expansion. It is its own self-standing universe, so to speak. It is from the Carcassonne Around the World line. This is the first one. So let's take a look at this and decide whether or not this is a beautiful rebooting or reimagination of Carcassonne, or blatant cash grab. You be the judge. Okay, before we take a look at how Carcassonne the South Seas plays, I want to take a look at an accessory for Carcassonne the South Seas, and actually an accessory for all Carcassonne tiles. As most of you know, I am a habitual sleever of cards. I do it ritualistically. Whenever I open up a game, I end up sleeving my cards almost immediately because I just love the way sleeves feel. Well, one of the companies out there that produces sleeves is a company called Swan Pan-Asia. And Swan Pan-Asia has actually produced sleeves for Carcassonne tiles. I'll let that sink in for just a moment. Let's think about this for a second. Sleeves for Carcassonne tiles, and so I have some here to look at. And actually the first tile for Carcassonne the South Sea is already sleeved. It's a thin, plastic sleeve and that is actually adhesive, and it totally encases this tile in plastic. And so basically, if you wanted to do it yourself, I've got one here, and you would take the tile and you figure out where it slides in, and it slides in really tightly. It's a really, really super tight fit, which is great. And then you have this little piece of tape here that you take off, and then you want to be really careful because you want to actually try to get this thing as formed as possible to the tile. But that's pretty much it. So now I've got this, a new Carcassonne tile that is sleeved, and I guess this prevents scuffs from happening. If you play this game so much you're going to wear the tiles out, then go for it. One of the issues that I would have with using a full sleeved copy of this game is that when you put tiles together, you can see that there's like a little bit of a gap here, right? And that's because that's where the seams of the sleeves meet, as opposed to actually taking two other tiles and just putting them together like that. You get no gap. Okay, there's a little bit of a gap here. There's virtually no gap here. Does that really matter? It might to some. It may not to anyone. But this product is out there and it's available. I don't know if I'm going to sleeve my entire copy of Carcassonne, but one pack of sleeves will sleeve an entire base game copy. And I guess for the couple bucks investment, you can try it yourself. These things are not reusable. Once you try to take these things out, you're not going to be able to pull this off. You see, I just ripped it. So there you go, Swan Pan-Asia sleeves for Carcassonne. Now let's take a look at how the rest of the game plays. So Carcassonne the South Seas, again, I'm not going to make this whole thing an entire comparison between the South Seas and standard Carcassonne, but I will say that they are not compatible, but they are comparable to each other in virtually every respect. So in Carcassonne, it is a game about laying tiles and achieving points, and the person who has the most amount of points by the time the pile of tiles runs out, and you'll have several piles of tiles located around the board, or located around the table. By the time these piles run out, the person with the most amount of points wins. Now, in standard Carcassonne, you keep points by an actual score track, and you have meeples that are going up and down a little score track and shows you how many points. It's different in South Seas, because in South Seas, you actually are going to start with 4 of these pirate ships that have different point values to them. So you can see this one's 4, 4, 3, and 2, and you'll have a whole pile of them. And you'll be able to try to get those, and that's what everybody's going to be vying for. In order to get this pirate ship, you have to have 3 shells and a banana, 2 fish and 2 bananas for this one. This one you have to have 3 of one kind and 1 of a different kind, and 3 fish of those. When you actually have the components or the resources that you need in order to claim one of these, then at the end of your turn you can trade in those resources and claim that. You bring that over to yourself, you draw a new one from the box or from the face down, and that goes in there. And so at the end of the game, you count up the number of ships that you have claimed, the number of points, and you also factor in a few other any extra resources that you get, and the person with the most points wins. On your turn, you will pick up a tile from one of the face-down tile piles, and you will flip it over and you'll find a place to place it. And so, for example, a bridge can always and only intersect with another bridge. A bridge can't go, for example, into this side of an island here, or it can't just go out into the sea anywhere. It has to connect to another bridge. When you do that, you then have the opportunity to place one of your meeples. You will have 4 of these little meeples here, and you will be able to place it on the tile that you just got done placing. Placing a meeple, you can place it in a couple different places. One, you can place it on a bridge. This is similar to the thief placement in regular Carcassonne. The placing this on the bridge makes you a shell gatherer. And once a bridge is completed, which is when either the bridge has 2 of these marks on them, or for example, the bridge ends onto an island piece, that's when that piece will score. And you will score the number of shells that are from one end of the bridge to the other. So for example, if I was to, or if another opponent was to place a tile here, then that would complete this bridge, and that would allow me to score 1 shell. I would take one of these small shells into my resource pile, and that I'm going to be able to use in order to trade in for points at some point. Now I could also place this meeple into the water, laying him down like a swimmer, and that makes him a fisherman. This is also similar to the farmer in Carcassonne. And what the fisherman does is once a number of, lake or sea tiles are completed, and let's see, we'll just keep doing this here, and let's see, I got to try to find one that's got a fish on it. But eventually you will find a tile with, I just keep on picking up boats. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. At some point you will flip over a tile that actually has a fish on it. Here we go. And you'll place this fish. I can't place it here. I can't place it anywhere. All right, let's say all right, I'm going to have to find another tile. This is now getting completely derailed. Here we go. Let's say I place a fish tile here. Or I place a tile here, and that has fish in it. Now, because there are fisher boats here, fisherman boats, and I have a fisherman that is there in the water, then I will be able to claim the number of fish that are in this sort of lake area. Oh, I realize that is a misplaced tile. I will be able to claim the number of fish that is in that area as long as where I am has a boat in it. So I'll actually be able to claim 2 fish, and so I would take 2 of these little fish into my hand, into my resources. Now, because 2 fish are actually pretty valuable, and fish are somewhat difficult to get in the game, once you actually claim a 2 fish spot, you'll take one of these little fisherman tokens and you'll place it over here to denote that that's where the fisherman went to get the fish, and those fish are no longer available to claim. One other placement, let's say I placed over here, I would also be able to place on this island. And we'll shift this down over here, and on the island, that makes you a, we'll just call it a banana collector. And so this is similar to the knight in regular standard Carcassonne. And once you have placed a banana collector onto a tile like this, and you complete an island, which is to say that all of the beach surrounds an entire island, there are no spaces that are open, then you will be able, once that tile is laid, anybody who is on this island will be able to collect the number of bananas that are here. So I would be able to collect 4 small bananas, or I would be able to collect 1 large banana, which is the equivalent of 3 bananas, and a small banana, and I would be able to take that into my inventory. Once my turn comes around and I have placed a new tile, let's say I'll place that one right, I can put this one right here, place a new tile, put a meeple on where I want it to. For example, I put that guy here on the shell collector, and I have now connected these 2 parts of the bridge, and so I would be able to collect 1 shell. I take that meeple back. I would take this meeple back once I have collected my bananas, and then I have my resources, and then again, I can trade my resources in for pirate ship victory points. And so I would be able to trade in 3 shells, my large shell, 3 shells, and 1 small banana, in order to claim 4 victory points. Players will continue to do this and try to make the Carcassonne South Seas as large as possible. You can see that as you're placing tiles, part of the challenge is actually figuring out where you can actually place a tile. for example, I've got this tile, I can't place it here because an island can only go here. An island can only touch an island, a bridge can only touch a bridge, and sea can only touch a sea. So I could put it right here and just leave that out there and then hope that I can bank on getting somebody else to finish a bridge over in this way or this way if I was to, say, place a guy on the bridge here, or maybe even smarter play would be able to place a swimmer here so that I could claim these 2 fish because there is, of course, a boat right there. Again, this will start to fan out and become bigger and bigger, and once the pile of tiles runs out, then whoever has the most victory points claimed in their pirate ships is the winner of Carcassonne South Seas. After I got done doing the overview, I took a look at it and realized that I forgot a very important scoring mechanism, and that is the island markets. And what you have are these markets that are islands in the middle of water, and you build around them, not unlike you build the, I think it's the cloisters in the regular Carcassonne. And then by putting one of your meeples on the island market, like you do with the monk, once all those surrounding spaces are filled in, you actually get to take whichever pirate ship you want. So I apologize for not showing that. I actually shot that that portion and then realized that that footage got deleted somewhere. So there you go, the last scoring mechanism of the island market itself. Now, Carcassonne the South Seas, I am not a Carcassonne player. I don't own Carcassonne. I've played it a couple of times, but I was really excited to get the South Seas, mainly because I don't already have a Carcassonne in my collection. And I gotta say, it may be a blatant cash grab, yes, but it is also a wonderful implementation and reimagining of the way Carcassonne works. The production on it is absolutely beautiful. The colors pop, the blues offset the greens of the island, and the meeples look great. Everything looks fantastic, and it's very, very well produced. And so the mechanisms are very, very similar, as you saw, as with regular Carcassonne, but that scoring mechanism is quite different. And I think it really works. I think it works even better than original Carcassonne as a gateway game, because with original Carcassonne you have that scoring track and you move your meeple up and down the little road, and that's all well and good, but having those bits that you can hold in your hands, having the bananas and the shells and the fish that you can hold in your hands, the tactile sensation of that then you trade in for these pirate ships. The pirate ships all have the values of them known and what it takes in order to get them, and so there's a little bit of a race around the table because you can see what's out there and people are competing to see what they can grab before anybody else. There adds a little bit more interactivity, a little bit more competition there, and a little bit more of a satisfaction of being able to hold something in your hands. South Seas does a wonderful job of bringing Carcassonne down to an even lower barrier to entry in a lot of ways, and makes it that much more of an enjoyable game. Now, if you already own Carcassonne and their 1,000 expansions, should you get South Seas? No, I don't think so. Not unless you're willing to get rid of all of Carcassonne and all the benefits that you get from those expansions. But if you're looking for a good entry point into the Carcassonne universe, I can't recommend South Seas highly enough. I don't know if you should get South Seas over Carcassonne if you're already planning on getting all those expansions, but if you're just looking for apples to apples, you're just, not the game apples to apples, of course, but let's say you're trying to compare just Carcassonne to Carcassonne South Seas, which one would you get? My recommendation is going to be the South Seas because of the production value, because of the scoring mechanic, and because those bits are just really enjoyable to hold. So thanks a lot for watching this. Please let me know what you think of it, and feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.